On behalf of all of us, my name is Beasley St. Solon, and good evening. Have a great weekend. Right now, we've got Brendan Parker standing by with Ryan Dittrick for tonight's Ram post-game show, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers.
Winning Motor Trend Truck of the Year 3 times in a row? That had never been done before. Then again, neither had a 12-inch touchscreen or 1,000 pound-feet of torque. Never been done before. It's just kind of our thing.
Welcome inside Flames Post-Game Live, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers. Brendan Parker alongside Ryan Dittrick as we discuss a Calgary Flames loss at the hands of the St. Louis Blues here tonight. A couple of empty netter goals at the end of this hockey game, but make the final 6-4 here for the visitors in a game that had some ebbs and flows to it. Obviously, the Calgary Flames tied in the third period, but a go-ahead goal late and a couple of empty netters the difference. But maybe just first get your initial thoughts on this hockey game here tonight.
Yeah, I think for the most part, you look at the shot count tonight, 43-25. Not a lot to complain about from a Flames perspective. It was kind of the exact opposite of what we saw Thursday against the Los Angeles Kings. That night, there wasn't a lot of easy ice, and we saw it numerous times. The Flames would be trying to carry the puck through the neutral zone, and you'd have 4 white sweaters on you, right? It wasn't very easy to generate offense. Tonight, they were the ones dictating and trying to wear down the St. Louis Blues. It did lead to a lot of their offense at points in the game, but sort of the Blues calling card. They're not going to pepper you with a ton of volume, but they're a patient team. They work the cycle, and that's what led to a lot of their offense tonight. Yeah,
we discussed opportunistic, and that's kind of what it results in. You take a look at through 40 minutes, you only have, I think it was 10 shots on net, and yet you found yourselves up 3-2. And from a Calgary Flames standpoint, I mean, you like the starts, the first period, and then obviously what you saw at the start of the second period, maybe just the finish not there tonight.
Yeah, no, and at the same time, you have to remember you're playing a very good team on the other side, and 10 shots, that doesn't happen very often, even for a team that doesn't maybe generate a ton. You knew they were going to come to life in that third period. They did. That was probably their best period of the night. I thought the Flames pushed back quite well in that period too. It just became one of those back and forth tight games, and you're going to see a lot more of that as we get around the playoff time. It just didn't work in their favor.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go through what we saw here tonight, starting with all the way back into the first period and a goal that starts this hockey game out less than a minute in. Robert Thomas, we talked about him in the pregame show, a guy that's got a 4-game point streak coming into tonight. We'll make it 5 because he ends up redirecting this point shot nicely in front.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him a lot tonight, that's for sure. He works the boards so well, and as you see, doesn't need a ton of space to try and open up his teammates. Justin Falk doing what we saw Eric Goodbranson do the other night, just hit pucks on net.
Yeah, nice shot, even nicer tip in front by Robert Thomas, and then the Flames would find an answer here, and it's a line that figured into the conversation a lot this evening, and Brett Richie ends up getting credit for this goal in front.
Yeah, maybe Billy Husso trying to do a little bit too much there, but you gotta love the wherewithal from Brett Richie to kind of sneak in front there, maybe a touch of a stick lift, but he sweeps it by Husso.
Brett Richie, you're not even sure if he was going to be in the lineup here tonight. Kelly Yarncroke ends up going out with a non-COVID related illness. Richie comes in, he's got his second, and then more from the Calgary Flames. In this one, Johnny Gaudreau on the partial break off the pass from back.
And how many times have we seen that play this season? He loves that shot when he goes in alone. So difficult for the goaltender to get it. It's kind of just above the cheater there. Not easy to grab with the glove, not easy to get with your shoulder. Johnny loves it.
It's his spot, and it's a good one. 32 in the year for Johnny, 2-1, but they could not get out of that first period, and that comes thanks to a power play goal working around the Flames helmet, and it beautiful pass there. Braden Shen finds Ryan O'Reilly walking into the slot.
And O'Reilly does not need a ton of room, but he gets a little bit of an assist. Flyby screen there, Eric Goodbranson, and I believe that's Brandon Saad in front too. So very difficult for Jacob Markstrom to pick up in what Ryan O'Reilly loves, primary of the ice.
So 16 on the year for Ryan O'Reilly, and we were 2-2 after 1, and this is the only goal in that second period, despite heavily in favor of the Calgary Flames in terms of shots. This is the one that is the difference in that middle frame, Justin Falk joining the rush.
And this is what we alluded to off the top, right? A lot of patience from this Blues team, but they work the cycle very effectively. And David Perron, what can you say? We were talking about it throughout the night. 33 years old, still probably one of the more underrated players in the game.
Yeah, sneaky for sure, and Perron makes a nice little feed there for Falk, 3-2, and here was the equalizer, and some great work once again from this fourth line, Ryan Carpenter, Brett Richie, Milan Lucic, and eventually it's Noah Hanifin.
Yeah, we'll have to check and see if Luch was eventually credited with an assist on that play, but he made it happen. He was buzzing all night, creating chances. I think he led the way with 5 individual high-scoring, high-danger chances on his own, so he was buzzing, and, for a lot of the talk the last few days has been about secondary scoring for this team. They need a guy like him to step up at this time of year.
Good energy all night long, and unfortunate there with Brett Richie, and hopefully we'll get an update on him. He had to leave the game and did not return. 3 threes the score, but here's Robert Thomas right back into the offensive zone, and boy, what a nice play to kind of stop up and find an open guy in the slot. That's Nathan Walker.
Yeah, so sneaky. I mean, how good is a guy being able to drive it up ace and take 3 Flames down the lane there? You'd like to see maybe the Flames pinch that one off, but that's a skilled player doing what he does best, and obviously it doesn't work unless he has the vision to find Falk trailing on the play in the slot.
So there we got the lead, and this is where we see the empty net sequence, and a lot happening in the final couple of minutes in this hockey game. But this one would be Ivan Barbashev, who scores his 21st into the empty net right from center ice. You kind of think maybe at that point it might be enough, but the Flames did find one to make it interesting here, cut the lead in half, and it's kind of a goal mouth scramble, and right there at the edge of the blue paint is Dylan Dubé. They maybe take a quick peek afterwards, but it was a good goal.
You like to see this too. I think this is the second time in about a month's time where they've allowed that first empty net goal, but they come back and get on the offense right away and end up making the game a close one.
Correctly.
Exactly,
those,
right?
Yeah.
It's good to see. You want the guys to stick with it right through to the end, and they did that.
Yeah, and this is the end, and eventually the final nail in the coffin there, and it comes from Brandon Saad off the turnover in the neutral zone. Only about 4 seconds left, 5 seconds left, so at that point it was probably over. Anyway, 6-4 is your final score, and maybe just as we follow up on those highlights from a Flames perspective, the energy they got from their fourth line here tonight, obviously unfortunate, and again, we'll wait and see if we get an update on Brett Richie, but he comes into the lineup. We thought, and at least in the lineups that we saw through warm-up, looked like it was going to be Calle Yarncroke up the middle, but he is a late scratch. Brett Richie comes in and has a real impact on this hockey game.
Yeah, like you said, we're obviously hoping that things turn out okay on the injury front there, but this is what you want to see. Obviously, offense has come very, it hasn't been easy for him this year, but getting the opportunity to come back in the lineup, now the goals are starting to pick up for him too, and we talked about it when the Tyler Toffoli came in. Obviously, Calle Yarncroke, Ryan Carpenter, who was in the mix again tonight. This is creating some competition in the forward ranks, and for a guy like Richie to show that you not only have the depth to step in and play an important role, but also figure on the offensive side of the sheet too. I mean, it can only mean good things for this team moving forward.
Yeah, and for a guy like Ryan Carpenter, obviously we spoke with him this morning. One game since he's been here until tonight, gets in for a second one, and then to have a nice impact. I would imagine there is a transition period as a new guy coming into a lineup. You're trying to, get to know your teammates, but as a player, the best impact you can have is when you get in these game situations. I'd imagine this was a big step for him too.
He was good. He was good, and I liked your comment or your interview with him this morning too. He kind of acknowledges the fact that he's a depth forward. He's been using that term, which for a player in his position, you might not normally hear that kind of admission, but it's not a bad thing. He recognizes the role he's in and that he is in a competition, right? So there's a ton of ice time to go around. He knows that he needs to grab a piece of it, and the best way to do that, obviously, is to have a night like the one we saw tonight.
I know we're kind of rolling through everybody on that line, but they were impactful tonight. Milan Lucic, we saw him walk in again here tonight. What did you think that this team got from number 17 here this evening?
Well, I thought you were going to ask me what you thought of the jacket coming in, because that alone is going to give the guys a boost. Yeah, I like the jacket. I'm not sure about the button situation there, but that's just me.
Hey, he owns it.
He does. I mean, Milan Lucic, this is a guy coming off that loss to the Kings, I think very outspoken about, not to sound harsh, but the lack of intensity or emotion that was there from the Flames that night, because they know that's their bread and butter and what they need to bring, especially at this time of year as we play those close games. But we saw it. It started yesterday at practice. Very high tempo, emotional, intense. The guys were battling, and it was one of their longer practices in quite some time. So you set the tone, you practice like you play, and he was able to carry it over into tonight's game. He was one of the leaders. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, real nice night from Milan Lucic, and I think he comes in, obviously a number of shots. I think 4 he finishes with, and then we'll see if he ends up getting some credit. Right now it's just a Noah Hannafin unassisted goal, which I assume they figure right now that a Blues player touched it at some point, but there was a lot of traffic in front of the net, which is what you need. Billy Husso, do you want to touch on him? Because, now for the St. Louis Blues, I think it was 5 straight appearances. He's supposed to get the night off. Jordan Binnington got the start last night in Edmonton, but he comes in here on back-to-back nights, faces over 40 shots here for St. Louis.
I think that was one of the, I would say, surprising things. But, yeah, watching that game last night against the Oilers, obviously Jordan Binnington gets that early hook, and we weren't exactly sure what the Blues were planning on the goaltending front. But this is a guy who's really taken the reins this year, and Binnington certainly has struggled at points. But for a young guy to come in and sort of stabilize things, I mean, we saw this a few years ago when the Blues won the Cup. Binnington came in and was that guy. So there's competition here with the Flames in the forward ranks, but St. Louis Blues are proving you can have that in the crease as well. He was lights out. The Flames getting back to what they do best, which again is maybe not so much what the Blues do, volume. He was great all the way.
As far as appearances here this season, too, and starts, it's been split pretty much evenly between the two of them. I think 31 and 31 coming in tonight, so that's number 32 appearance on the season for Husso, and real solid 39 saves for the St. Louis Blues here tonight in a performance that could have easily swayed the Calgary Flames' way if you find the back of the net. A couple of chances early on in this hockey game, and maybe you touched on it, but obviously that practice and how it sets the tone, and I think Milan talked about it in the first intermission on Hockey Night as well, that maybe a start tonight, still some possibility to improve in a few different areas, but that's where it has to begin.
Yeah, and Daryl Sutter's talked about it a lot recently, about how there isn't a ton of practice time in general at this time of year. So we try to play a little bit of a guessing game. We're not entirely sure what we're going to see on a day-to-day basis in terms of practice length or maybe the content of what they're going to do during their skates. I went into the rink yesterday thinking that was going to be a shorter, maybe a 10 to 15 minute kind of a morning skate, just get the guys moving a little bit. But it was the exact opposite. I think they went 40 minutes before they even got a sip of water. So they were bringing it.
It was good. Yeah,
but it's not just showing it in practice. The fact that they were able to talk the talk, they walk the walk tonight.
Yeah, and now we got some road games coming up. I mean, we kind of spoke, previously on this homestand where 12 games in the month of March on home ice. This finishes off a 6-game homestand, and this team hasn't played consecutive road games since early February. So maybe an opportunity for now. You got a couple of new guys, get out on the road a little bit, and maybe get an opportunity to see some different things, different looks, and try some things out.
Yeah, and a change of scenery is always a good thing. These guys are creatures of habit. They like being on the road, and a flight to Los Angeles tomorrow. Obviously, there's a ton of ties, so I think some of the guys might be able to hopefully get a nice dinner, see some old friends, but obviously you're facing a good Kings team for the second time in 3 nights too. So, you're kind of getting an opportunity to flex your muscle against this Pacific Division right now, and this is going to be a good test for this team. Make no mistake, it's not going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah, and we do expect to hear from a couple of players here as well. I think Daryl Sutter will be on after hours tonight as well on Hockey Night in Canada, so we'll see if we get a chance to hear from the head coach here tonight. Otherwise, maybe one of the assistants, but we'll bring that to you whenever it is available to us. And maybe let's touch on shot totals for sure are there, but there's some clanking going on tonight as well. Like a couple of opportunities and a couple of looks really on both sides. But actually, we're going to play it out, guys. You want to just play? We can take a look. I mean, this is the sounds of the game. This is kind of where you end up hearing it, but and seeing it. There was some traffic in front, and there was some opportunities that end up catching some iron.
Sort of emblematic too of what the Flames want to be bringing, and I know the St. Louis Blues had, there's an example there, similar sort of attempts here, but there's nothing fancy about any of these plays, right? The pucks back up to the point, traffic in front, shooting for these lanes, and again, we're going to talk about this so much as we go closer, throughout the month of April and into playoff time, but those are the types of goals you're going to be scoring at this time of year. So those ones didn't fall, but those are the types of habits you need to be building right now to create those looks in the first place.
Maybe just as we await some post-game reaction here as well, let's touch just a little bit on, kind of this stretch of hockey. And obviously we see the LA Kings here. Now you get them twice in 5 days. The magnitude as we get into the final month. Normally we would be talking about playoff hockey just around the corner, right? First week of April, that's when it kind of turns. And you still got, a good month of hockey or just a little less. But an opportunity again here to see LA coming up, finish off that season series. And, what do you make of the position right now?
Kind of going back to what we talked about earlier, a great test, but I think the Kings are, I don't want to say surprising people right now, but obviously we talked about it a couple of nights ago, 8 regulars missing from their lineup, and they come out and put out an effort like that. It's what they've been doing a lot of recently, and I was kind of transfixed by the stat sheet the other night. We looked and saw Sean Dursey, a guy who maybe not a lot of people had heard of going into the night. He played upwards of 29 minutes, 9 block shots. This is a guy that was a part of the Jake Muzzin trade going back a couple of years. So that's kind of how you restock the pipeline. And for those that maybe watched the Ontario Reign last year, maybe not as surprised with the success they've had.
Yeah, wherever I don't know that you'll be watching this
I watched them
show.
all, like for sure. I'm a big Reign guy, all over it. But seriously, I mean, that is what you're going to see, right, guys? Young players that get an opportunity and are able to step in and have some immediate success.
Well, it's interesting because, obviously we've seen Connor Mackey be recalled here today, and obviously plays a huge part on a great team down in Stockton, and very similar to what you're talking about, those opportunities, getting the reps to play,
For sure.
playing in all situations down there, and they've already clinched a playoff spot, and this is kind of similar to what you're discussing, right? It's just about having that success there and then transferring it over, and it made see an opportunity to get Connor here in the lineup at one point or another, but might see a couple of bodies here over the course of this stretch.
For sure, and obviously not to bury the lead of the day too, but Sean Monahan obviously out for the season with season-ending hip surgery, and again, hopefully things are okay on the Brett Richie front, but this is the time of year where things are really taxing on the body, and you want to see some success down on the farm. So if you do need to dip down there and hopefully inject some offense back into your forward groups, they've got the reps anyway to have an immediate impact.
No shortage of success down there. Obviously, Jacob Pelche having a great rookie season. Matthew Phillips, I think, leading that team and scoring right in the top 10 in the AHL scoring as well. And Dustin Wolf has been sensational. Picked up his 30th win of the season here tonight in a rookie campaign. I think it's the first AHL rookie to win 30 times in the American Hockey League since 2012, 2013, I believe, or somewhere in that neighborhood. So a couple of real fine seasons down on the farm. And all right, let's talk more about this game here tonight and get some post-game reaction. Associate coach Kirk Muller is standing by. 6-4 the final. St. Louis wins it. Let's hear from Coach Muller now.
You guys had almost, if not double, the shots on goal against St. Louis tonight. But losing, what did you see and how this turned out?
Well, I think the big thing is when we got scored on. So if you look at our team and our identity all year, it's we want to be a team that's known to check and a lot of pride in D-zone coverage and playing well without the puck. So some lost coverages that we had in the wrong situations. First shift of the first period, and they score the end of the first period and then late in the third. So sometimes it's the timing of the goals that hurt you, and those lost coverages cost us. Even though you can look at the shots and offensive stuff, but it's how we play without the puck that's going to make this team win hockey games.
It seemed like St. Louis had a lot of high danger, or maybe the chances they got were high quality. Is it because of that lost coverage versus something that they were doing particularly well?
Yeah, I think it's more, for us, I think man-to-man we can, address that tomorrow as far as guys recognizing the mistakes that we made. And it's important right now because these games are all real tight, low-scoring games. And like you say, it's every shift matters, every little detail matters, and we're seeing that right now. So, we'll fix it, we'll regroup, and get ready for a big road trip.
Fix that. Is that an X's and O's thing? Do you think maybe it's some fatigue setting in, or what for this to kind of creep into your game this late in the season?
No, I think it's just guys on they know the mistakes that have been made in the last few games from our team, and we just gotta stay on it. It's all year long the guys have been good at their assignments and coverage and all that. And St. Louis is a straight line, simple team, and they work hard. And so there's nothing that we haven't seen. It's just tighten it up and being aware. And like I say, recognizing this time of year, it's every little play it matters, and you got to really fine tune your details.
Can you just talk about that fourth line goal and how hard they battled? It almost looked like you guys were going to kind of take over at that point. But what did you see from that battle especially?
Well, I think that's, it's, again, this time of year, right? It's, you're not going to get some fancy goals. You're going to have to earn everything. And again, we're recognizing that, and in order to score goals, you have to earn it. You have to get in those dirty areas and simplify your game, So, shot volume's, huge about getting shots there, but, you got to get in and get second, third opportunities, and that's how our team has to score goals, and it's not going to change. Every game from now to the end is going to be tight and hard, and, they did a great job, the fourth line, scoring that goal, but, that's pretty much what it's going to be like from here on in.
People will see these last three games and obviously the end result, but by no means, you probably wouldn't characterize it as a slump, given the way that your team has played. Would you agree with that?
Well, it's not how we want to, finish up before we go on a road trip, but it's what it is, and if anything, I think it's just, the understanding of taking these games and going, hey, we gotta dig in. We gotta really, and it's not going to get easier on the road. Everyone's playing for something different right now, and we just gotta pack up. Put this aside and go, hey, we got to be better. And that's what our guys have been based on all year, right, is, work for everything you get. So we're going to have to go and start it all over again and, rejuvenate and battle away in a couple of days.
Any update on Brett Richie?
From what I understand, just lower body injury. I haven't had a chance to see him, but that's what I've been told so far.
Lessons can this group learn from teams like St. Louis and Colorado that do have some lengthy playoff runs under their belt? What lessons can your group take from those two teams right now?
Well, I think one thing is that we got to feel comfortable playing in these games and keep our identity. And like I was saying earlier, our identity is to play well without the puck and to check it back and play hard and be a hard team to play against. And whether it's 0-0 to the last minute of a game or 1-1 or it's all tight games, we have to be the team that's very comfortable and not get frustrated and be the team that's thinking that this is okay. This is how we want to play and take that right through 60 minutes. So we can't crack. We got to make other teams crack, and that's when we're at our best.
Sort of a different note, but Sean Monahan being out for the season, and what type of impact can that have in your experience with coaching him so far and the impact he's had?
Well, he's been here and, as a Flame for, a true soldier and a heart, honest soldier. And, it's, you miss guys like that, he's a big part of the team as far as culturally and team guy and everything. But it's things move on, right? And other guys, it's an opportunity for other guys to jump in, and really our team is built like that, right? We don't, depend on a couple guys here and there. It's based on everyone, playing the role and, accepting it and, everyone buying into a system. And when we do that, we're at our best.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay.
All right, there's some thoughts from Associate Coach Kirk Muller here post-game, and one of the things, obviously, just talking about some of the details, but again, reinforcing this time of year and what you expect to see on a nightly basis, and not something that intends to go away at any time soon.
Definitely, and again, details. What does that mean? Well, I think we saw a pretty good example of that on what was then the go-ahead goal, Justin Falk, and as good of a play as that was from Robert Thomas, the Flames were in good shape in a situation like that. I think you commented it was 1-on-4 at that point, and I think you need to look around and make sure that everybody's got their assignment, they've got their guy, and they know where their teammates are on the ice. So when those little missed assignments come in, that's when you can maybe get into trouble, and it obviously proved a bit costly here tonight. Yeah,
fine margin in these types of games for sure, and that is going to be the case as we finish out the regular season and into the playoffs. Let's continue the post-game reaction here and head back to the podium. Standing by now is Milan Lucic, and I believe it was Noah Hannafin joining him up there as well. So here's Lucic and Hannafin now.
Maybe start, Milan, you can start just where it sort of slipped away for you guys in terms of the details tonight.
Just lost coverage a few times, gave up chances in the slot. That was basically it. It's coverage that we've been really good at all year. Just got to clean it up.
Easier to accept a loss like this, or harder when you are up playing teams, but the mistakes are always been costly lately?
Yeah, so it's just a matter of sticking with it, right? So if you get frustrated and start trying to do too much and try and do someone else's job, that's when you get away from your game plan and you get away from your identity. So probably a good time for a road trip here. Feels like we haven't been on a road trip for two months. So as much as we love playing Calgary in front of our home fans, it's nice to kind of get away and freshen things up a bit. So we got to approach this road trip like we did the first one in the start of the year when we went to Detroit, and get our game going again.
I was going to ask about that because I felt I was going to make that up as a cliche, but you feel this could be a good time to hit the road?
Definitely. Big games, all divisional games, especially Monday. Now they're 3 points behind us, so big game, and so it's a good time to get away and get together as a group and as a team on the road and find our game again.
Did it feel like one of those games where you did outplay them? Because I know that sometimes that can be misleading on the score sheet at the end of it.
Yeah, I thought we did a lot of good things. I mean, I think like Luch touched on it, I think it was just, the few chances, they had, they capitalized on, and, that's something we got to clean up. I think in the second period they had like 10 shots, but we were giving them good chances, and that's something, we can't allow, especially with the identity of our team. That's something we don't normally do. So, I think, for the back end, I think we can do a better job of killing plays down low and, not giving them that much time and to make those plays into the slot. So, like Luch said, we just got a big game coming up on Monday where we can get back on track here against a big divisional opponent. So, let's get ready for that.
And you probably don't want to get into that habit of outscoring your mistakes. That's something that Daryl sort of talks about all the time, right?
Yeah, it's just we're not going to have success in the long run doing that, and we know that. And whenever we've had success this year, it's been by playing a hard nose, checking game, and not trying to win a game, 6-5 or whatever. So we just got to get back on track here.
Talking about how it's important to keep your identity, especially when the games are getting tighter this kind of year. Maybe Milan, because you have experience playing late into April, May. Is that something that just comes with more reps? Keeping your identity and playing your game this time of year?
Yeah, for sure. There are ups and downs in the season, and one of the things that we've done really well this year is we've established an identity. We have an identity of what gives us success, and so now we have a foundation to fall back on in order to get our game right and get our game where we need it to be in order for us to have success. So, Kirky's like he was saying, it's just relying on that, finding it again, playing to our foundation, and like I said, it's worked for us all year. So, we have 14 games here to figure it out before the postseason starts.
We call it the Ram 1500 Limited. But, truth be told, there's nothing limited about it. Ram 1500, winner, J.D. Power Award for Best Driver Appeal.
All right, Flames post-game live brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers, putting a wrap here on a 6-4 loss at the hands of the visiting St. Louis Blues and closing out this 6-game homestand here tonight as well as the Calgary Flames, and now looking ahead to 4 games on the road. Just quickly update the injury situation. We heard from Kirk Muller there, just listed as a lower body for Brett Richie. Obviously get more of an update in the days to come, but he leaves this game in the third period, and then obviously found out this morning Sean Monahan is out for the remainder of the season with the hip surgery, and one more in there, which is Oliver Shillington, who is day-to-day right now as well. No upper or lower body on that one, but the injury update as of tonight, and then obviously we saw Michael Stone draw in for Oliver Shillington tonight, and Ryan Carpenter and Calle Yarncroke, a non-COVID related illness. So suddenly you go from a team that's been relatively healthy for the most of this season, and there's a few stacking up, which you'd kind of expect at this time of year anyway.
Absolutely. Busy. Yeah. He rattled that off in one breath. That was pretty impressive.
I blacked out.
Did you even write that down?
No.
I don't know.
I didn't.
That was good.
I didn't.
Anyway.
I hope I got them all right.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, we discussed some of the, the farmhand help at this time of year, critical, and again, not even the help that you're going to be getting injecting from the farm, but also some secondary scoring, which we saw tonight. All of it kind of helps in a situation like that.
And the nice thing is proximity, because Calgary Flames are now headed to California, which just happens to be the location of your farm team. So maybe expect some activity there. That flight leaves tomorrow, and of course it'll be the Flames and Kings coming up on Monday. But let's first update the standings at the end of play here on Saturday night. 8 games, actually 9 total, but 8 around the National Hockey League outside of the one here at the Scotiabank Saddledome, and you see things tightening up right now in the Pacific Division. You do have to keep in mind the games in hand. There's 3 of them on the LA Kings, which is important, but that lead at the top is now narrowed down to 3, which adds some significance to Monday night, and it already had some in there.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it looms large. It did Thursday when the teams first met, and now I think everybody's looking a little bit more forward to that game on Monday night. It's a good one. Always is between those two teams, and in that building, Crypto.com Arena, Didn't even mess it up. That's the first time I've said it.
Staples.
Great barn. Great barn.
It's like Saskatoon. It'll always be Saskatchewan place. I'm sorry. It's not.
Now, the guys should be buzzing. That's the point, right? So.
Yeah. Also, just a quick note there. Dallas did win tonight, too, and it was on the other side. We're kind of focused on the top of the Pacific, but Dallas leapfrogs Vegas now 1 point up on the final wildcard spot as well. So some interesting conversations here as we head into the final month of hockey. As for tonight, though, it is a 6-4 win for the St. Louis Blues. They win the rubber match. These two teams had split the first 2 games of their season series. The Blues take this one here on Saddledome ice, and it comes with a couple of third-period goals that makes the difference. As for the Calgary Flames, now dropped 3 straight games, but heading out on the road. You heard from Milan Lucic there, maybe a good tonic for this team to get 4 straight coming up in California and Seattle. First up will be the Kings on Monday night at Crypto.com Arena. As for the home schedule, just 5 of them left at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Home ice schedule resumes Tuesday against the Seattle Kraken. That's our next telecast. We'll see you then. Thanks for all of us here at Flames TV Live. We'll see you next time.